Hello, Algebra 1 students. Today we're going to be continuing our discussion of functions. And today we're going to be specifically looking at evaluating functions. So I'm going to be working with functions to find values of my given function at specific x values in this. And we're going to kind of do this in two different ways. One way we're going to do it is we're going to be using a t-table. And then another is we're going to write evaluate functions that are written in function notation. And before that, we are going to kind of spend a little bit of time reviewing what we had definitions for domain and range, because I know we talked about that a little bit earlier. So we're just going to kind of review some of those to kind of help us as we progress through and learning how to evaluate our functions. Your homework for tonight, that you need to finish that corresponds with this video, is functions worksheet number 5. All right. So this is the vocab that we need to know. Okay, I know we've talked kind of a little bit about domain and range previously. So know that there are different terms that we're going to use to represent domain and range. So remember, all of these terms here over on this side are going to be terms that we can use to represent domain. So domain is going to be the same thing as saying our x values, our inputs, x, or independent variables. Because if you remember, from when we talked about independent and dependent variables, and we talked about relations and functions, that your domain is always the x values of your relations and functions. So the x values are the things that you're going to input into your function, are going to be your domain. So like today, when we are evaluating our functions, we're going to plug in or substitute in x values in order to determine our value of our function. And then when we look at range, okay, range, we talked about this too. Remember, range is going to be words like y value, output, f of x, or dependent variable. This one right here, we're going to probably talk about a little bit more today, so you might not be as familiar with it, but don't worry, we'll kind of look at that one later. But remember, range is always, this is what you call your dependent variable. Okay, so like, whatever the range is, or whatever your y, like remember, your range being your y values depends on what your x values, and that's why it's a dependent variable. So today, when we are evaluating functions, the output of our function is going to depend on what we plug in. So that's why our range would be considered our dependent variable. All right, so we're just going to kind of jump right into our first type of evaluating, which is evaluating using a table. Okay. To do this, basically, like you see here, you're just going to be given a table of x values. You are also going to be given a function that is written like this. Right? Then basically what we're going to do is we're going to substitute in each given x value into our expression and then use order of operations to help us simplify. Okay? So basically we can just plug in. So basically here, the first thing we have to talk about, okay, is this how we would read this? Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit about more what this notation over here is, this f of x thing. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But basically, this is what tells us our function is, okay? So it basically tells us that this is what I'm going to use to help evaluate. This is the function I'm evaluating at my given x values, okay? So then the first thing I'm going to do, okay, is I'm going to use this 2x, f of x equals 2x minus 5. And I want to find my different x values for when x is -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is when I go down, here in this middle step, this is where we would substitute in our x values. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I want to figure out what would happen if I plugged in -2 in for this x in my function. Okay, what we would call this is we would call it f of -2. And then I'm going to plug in that -2 in for x. And then, this is something you're all used to by now, we're going to use order of operations to simplify. So the first thing that we would do, okay, order of operations, remember you're going to look for parentheses, exponents. We don't have any of those, but we do have multiplication. So I am going to multiply this 2 times -4, or 2 times -2, excuse me, which gets me -4. And then I subtract, and I get -9. So I find that my f of x would be -9 when x equals -2. Then I'm just going to keep going down the line for all the rest of my functions. So I find f of -1. So I'm going to plug in -1 for the x. Again, I do my multiplication first. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, minus 5. Negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7. Then I do the same thing with the 0. 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 minus 5 is negative 5. Okay, then the next thing I'm going to take, I want to find f of 1. So I'm going to plug in 1 for the x in my function. And then use order of operations to simplify. 2 times 1 is 2. And then 2 minus 5 is a negative 3. And then lastly, I'm going to go with the 2. So then here I plug in, I want to find f of 2. So I plug in 2 for my x. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 5 is a negative 1. Okay, and that's how you evaluate using a table. Okay, so you just take your function, plug in the x values that we give you on the table, and then use your order of operations to simplify. All right, so this one, same idea here. Our function here is f of x equals x squared plus 3. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to take all these x values that they give me and plug each one into the x in my function and find the value of my function at that given x value. So first for negative 2. The biggest thing I need to stress to you, and you guys need to remember, is that when you plug these numbers in, you need to make sure to plug them, put parentheses around them when you're plugging in. This is because what this function is telling me here, okay, this is telling me that I'm going to square whatever x is. And in this case, x is negative 2. So I want to make sure that I square negative 2. So negative 2 squared is 4. And then I have 4 plus 3 is 7, because you're still going to do your order of operations, and your exponents need to be first. Then I'm going to continue down, and I'm going to keep going. So I do f of negative 1. Again, ensuring that I put parentheses around that negative 1 when I plug it in. Negative 1 squared is 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. So here, f of negative 1 would be 4. Then I do the same thing with 0. Making sure to put parentheses around it. And then 0 plus 3 equals 3. Okay, because 0 squared was 0, and then 0 plus 3 would be 3. Again, with the 1, again, making sure to put parentheses around it. 1 squared is 1, and 1 plus 3 is 4. And then lastly, with my 2, to find f of 2, again, I plug in with parentheses around my 2. I have 2 squared plus 3. 2 squared is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. Okay, so just again, this one, I just need to make sure you be careful with that squared, making sure when you plug in your numbers, you're always putting parentheses around it so you correctly evaluate and correctly use your order of operations. Okay. Then we're going to kind of go into this idea of what we talk about function notation, and this is just going to give us another way to help us evaluate functions. So an algebraic expression that defines a function is what we would call a function rule. So if I think back to that first example we did, I believe it was f of x equals 2x minus 5. Okay, this piece right here, this 2x minus 5, this is what we would technically call our function rule, okay, because it's telling me what my function does. Okay, it's telling me that f of x, that my function f is what we would call it, is going to take every x value that I plug in, times it by 2, and then subtract 5. So that is the rule for this function f. Okay, so again, we would call x is going to be our independent variable, and y is our dependent variable. Okay, then the function notation for y is this notation here, which you've seen, which we read as f of x, meaning that this is a function of x. Okay, the f piece just names the function because we're going to get to a point where we may be using more than one function, so we can use any letter to describe it. And then the x just tells us what our independent variable is, so what we're going to be substituting in. Okay. just be careful here. The biggest thing to remember is that, or kind of keep straight, is that this does not represent multiplication. This notation is just naming our function and telling us what our independent variable is so we know how to evaluate it. So when an equation is written in two variables, we can use function notation to write it. So basically, if we wanted to write the function, we could say that if y is a function of f, meaning that if y is an equation that's written in terms of x, okay, then y is also going to represent, this is really just telling us that y is a function of x here. And then there's one thing to change because this x doesn't need to be here, or that f doesn't need to be there. So basically this piece right here on this like yellow box is just kind of giving us that when I say f of x, you can also think of that as me saying y, or me talking about my dependent or independent variables. Those are kind of going to be two words that, like, two things that are mean the same thing. It just kind of depends on how we want to write it. Alright, so now we're going to jump into the other type of evaluating that we're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about this as evaluating things in function notation. Okay, so basically what this would look like, is we're going to say, okay, here's your function rule. So we have f of x equals 3x plus 5. And then we want to tell you, you want to find that for when f of 7. Okay, what this piece of information here tells me is I want to evaluate my function, in this case it's f, when x equals 7. Okay, that's how you should read this kind of piece of information here. Means I'm trying to find the value of my function when x equals 7. So then what I can do to find f of 7 is I can just substitute in 7 for the x in my function. So I get 3 times 7 plus 5. And then I'm just going to use order of operations to evaluate. So I get f of 7 equals 21 plus 5, since 3 times 7 is 21. And I get f of 7 equals 26. And that is my answer. Okay? The biggest thing you have to kind of remember or kind of be careful of is this piece right here, like we talked about earlier, okay, doesn't represent multiplication. That doesn't mean that this piece right here, that f of 7, for these problems does not mean I'm taking f times 7. In the past, I've seen a lot of people try to solve for f so they would divide both sides by 7. That's not what we're trying to do. We are trying to evaluate this function up here at x equals 7, which is you just did when we got 26. Okay. The way I kind of like to describe this is you can kind of think of these functions as think of a function as an input-output machine. Okay, so I'm going to input something into my function, perform whatever rule I have on it, and then output it. Okay, so for example here, like my function here is f of x equals 5x. So if I input x into this function, I'm going to pick a different color so you can see that better. So look, if I were to input x into this function, okay, so this is my function, I want to input x. Well, 5 times x is going to get me 5x. Okay, say I want to evaluate 2. Well, 5 times 2 is 10. I want to evaluate f of 6. Well, 5 times 6 is 30. So basically thinking of you're going to input something into your function and then you're going to get something out of it. That's why we think of it as an input-output machine. All right, so I'm just going to do a few more practice problems here. So again here, I want to find, I have my function is f of x equals 3x plus 2, and I want to find f of negative 4. Recalling this means I'm basically going to figure out what is the value of my function when x equals negative 4. So I plug in f of negative 4. So I substitute in the negative 4 for x. I know that f of negative 4, and then I use order of operations to simplify. So then 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Negative 12 plus 2 is a negative 10. So I have figured out that f of negative 4 is going to be negative 10. All right, why don't you go ahead and try and evaluate this next one. So try to find, we have g of x equals negative 4x squared plus 15, and you're going to try and find g of 3. Okay, so kind of keep in mind what we talked about when we worked with exponents when we were evaluating the tables. That same idea is going to be true here. So why don't you try this one on your own and see if you can figure it out. All right, so the first thing you do, okay, you have to remember this means I'm finding my value when x equals 3. Okay, so just before, so we're finding g of 3. As before, we still need to put parentheses around that x, that number we're plugging in, especially when we're using, when we have exponents involved. Then I use order of operation. Remember, your first thing is parentheses. If there aren't any parentheses that are using that indicate I need to do an operation inside of them, then exponent. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 squared. I know that 3 squared is 9, so I get negative 4 times 9 plus 15. Then I do my multiplication. Negative 4 times 9 is negative 36. Negative 30, and then I have negative 36 plus 15. And then I find that g is going to be of 3 is negative 21. Okay? Then lastly, why don't you go ahead, try this last one on your own. This one that involves your absolute value symbols. Again, being careful with your negatives and your order of operations like we did before. All right, so I'm trying to find h of negative 6. That means I'm plugging in x equals negative 6, or substituting in x equals negative 6. Okay, so h of negative 6, okay, I'm going to have is the absolute value of negative 5 times negative 6 plus 2. So then the first thing, I'm going to look inside that absolute value symbol, and the first thing inside I'm going to do there is multiply. So I'm going to do negative 5 times negative 6, which is 30. Then I do my 30 plus 2, and I get the absolute value of 32. Then I take the absolute value of 32, and I find that h of negative 6 is 32. And that's evaluating functions both as a table and in function notation. So just some things to remember. Be careful with your order of operations. Be careful when you're substituting, especially with negatives. Don't forget, your homework is functions worksheet number 5.